our Dean and Director, and Professor Dr. Rajesh Sharma. So today, Professor Dr. Rajesh Sharma is going to speak upon a very, very contemporary and relevant topic, that is disability and diversity, inclusive ADR teaching and training. And this is important for us because here at NIRMA also we strive not only towards imparting the theoretical knowledge to our students, but also provide them the practical understanding and the practical intricacies of the ADR mechanisms. I would like to briefly introduce Dr. Rajesh Sharma. So Dr. Rajesh Sharma is an assistant professor and he teaches at RMIT University, Melbourne in Australia. Dr. Sharma was the director of mooting and coach of arbitration moot at City University. He has also designed the international ADR moot competition run by City University. This moot is unique in the world because it combines arbitration and mediation, where a student also takes part in as a mediator and not only as a client or a counsel. So Dr. Sharma has taught courses on arbitration, mediation, negotiation, foreign investment arbitration, WTO law, international trade law, banking law, foreign investment in Hong Kong, Macau, India, Australia, China, and Africa. So we once again welcome you, Dr. Rajesh Sharma, and it is a pleasure, and it was a pleasure listening to you last time. Hope we continue the same kind of an endeavor this year as well. So the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the NIRMA University Dean and all of you who were there, my colleagues, to invite me second time to take part in this international teaching at your place. In fact, I was looking forward to join this, and I was looking forward for this invitation to join again and give this presentation to that. This year, I decided, or like I suggested, the topic should be discussed and agreed and exchange the views on that, is a disability and diversity inclusive ADR teaching and training. Now, this is more for teachers to get ready and prepare and help the students of different ability to join and take part in this kind of a teaching and learning. Now you think about it. Disability, when we talk about it, we only think about the physical disability, hearing, or like vision or a speech kind of a problem. But there are certain hidden kind of like disability, which is related to neuroscience, which is related to is a kind of which have to recognize, and we cannot see it on our own. When we say diversity, recently you may have heard about that. Diversity means we should have more women, or we should have people even with the different gender, even transgender, all inclusive. So now the disability can be included in diversity also. So the definition of diversity has become very, very wide to include all kinds of things. Another thing, it is my, I right up front, I want to apologize to you if I use the word disability, because it has a very negative connotation on that. Rather, we should be calling it different ability. And this is now happening all over the world. People are taking about it. What happens here is that as a teacher, when we are teaching in the class, actually, I can tell you from my own experience of last 25 years, I have been teaching, and in the class when we are there, we never or seldom pay attention to the students who are there in the class, or in the training program, they are in the class. We do not ask and find out if they have any special need. Only sometimes we get it very clear if some people have a glaring effect, or blind or partially blind. Those students are very visible. So we can help them, and when they come, we provide them some support. For example, enlarge the text or print out in a different way. We do that. But again, for that, we need to have the help of technology. During the COVID, what happened? For last 2 years, we have been doing the online teaching. When we do online teaching like this, assuming there is a student or some students who have a hearing problem, even if I give this presentation, they will not hear anything. And if they do not hear my speech, then how they can ability or desire.
Sir, if I may interrupt in between, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I guess there's some connectivity issue at your end because of which we are unable to hear you properly. We have a lag in your voice.
Okay. So maybe technology is problem. Is it clear now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. I'm relying on the local technology, local Wi-Fi. So I was saying is that for the visible or hearing impairment during the COVID time, when we were giving this online presentation, there was no caption, nothing. So those students had the problem. So I asked them, there was one student who wanted to leave the class. And I checked, and the student told me that recorded lecture or even the live lecture does not have any support of transcription. So they could not read it, and that was the problem. I felt that if I leave that student out of the class, and just because there's no transcript services, then there's one talent, one smart student will be left out of the system. Similarly, when we have the recorded lecture or recorded assessment, at that time, I realized that some of the students have a speech problem, a stuttering, and all those. They were having hard time in making their speech and working on that. In that case, written assessment would have been better, but it didn't work in such situation. So with this kind of a practical information, we come up with a plan. What we did, particularly for the hearing impairment, is that we asked the student to come in the class. I prepared the lecture, used the transcript, uploaded the transcript. We had a shorthand interpreter or writer. They took the notes in the class. Then I got it there, corrected it, and give it to the student. Just for one student. But I can say that that student completed that study and with ability, had the required capacity and ability to compete and do well with other students. So we should not ignore that. It is not a 100-meter race that people have to run fast. We are doing the work which is mental with the brain, and a good lawyer can also present their case while sitting on the chair. They don't have to run. So even without leg, they can do as much as and as good as what we can do. So these were the inspiring moments. In between, in July last year, ICC, International Chamber of Commerce ADR section, set up a task force for disability inclusion in international commercial arbitration. And this task force, when it was created or invited, I was very excited and said that something is good happening. But then the problem is, this task force is only looking of including those people who are already in profession. So if the students, if yeah, in fact, I was fortunate enough to be invited to be part of this task force. So I'm one of the members of that task force who is going to look at it, and my particular focus is on the teaching and training of inclusive ADR training in that. Then we also decided to try and test that what will happen if the students with different ability will compete with the students with full ability. Then what will happen? Because our idea is that we do not have to separate. We have to keep them together, compete together at the same level. The only thing we have to do is to create a level playing field. In this regard, we started a pre-moot. This is for the Asia Pacific pre-bis moot, which had just finished yesterday, and one of the Indian teams have won. But I can tell you that in that competition, There were 130 teams from around the world. We had 500 plus arbitrators who came. And this project was very well supported by the professor. This mood is not just a competition. It is an experiment. It is a lab where we try to see how we can make things happen. A couple of changes we had to do. And let me tell you that even I didn't know those are the problems which our colleagues and the friends and the students who with the different ability are facing. For example, when we look at the material, we didn't have like particularly the mood problem when it comes out. It is just given in the PDF file. So students who cannot see, cannot read, we converted the materials into braille. We converted the things we read aloud text. All those things we have to do. We even use the sign language interpreter to do the lecture training, and as well as in the competition, we provided that all on our own cost and everything. So there's no problem. We even talked to the publishers, writers, academics who had the papers and the materials available. We asked them, can we change into braille?
Sir, if I may interrupt you once again, I am sorry for interrupting you. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of lag and disturbance at your end. So we are unable to hear you clearly. I guess if you switch on your camera, probably the bandwidth would be appropriate for us to at least hear your audio.
So I'm switching off and then you tell me that.
Yeah, yeah. So no, still not better. Actually, your voice is breaking in between, so we can't really comprehend the sentences.
I'm using the noise cancellation system so that still I can use it. Otherwise, let me.
Now better.
Yeah, now it is better.
Okay. What about this? Is the sound clear now?
Yes, now it's
Very clear.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm not using the my Wi-Fi earplug, so I will just use this and switch off the camera. Would that be okay?
Yes, sir, that's perfectly all right.
Okay, very good. So now, this mood competition has given us some kind of an idea that how it will work. In this competition, we had a student with the physical disability as well as a mental disability. And we have done some experiment with them, and we will share that experience with you also. Now, if we come back to have a proper system of teaching a student with or inclusive teaching at the university level, mooting alone is not sufficient, because we cannot organize the competition to teach all the time. That's not a proper way. So we have to inbuild the system. And in that inbuilt, I suggest a couple of things, what we should do. And the first thing is that we should be looking at the teacher's level. At the teacher's level, the first thing we should do is to acknowledge, recognize, and look out for the students with different ability. Now, how we can do that? Before the semester starts, we can have a survey and where we can ask the students, do you have any special need? Of course, we have to be sensitive and we have to maintain the privacy. We cannot ask them to really say it if they do not want to say it. If they say, like we can give an example, do you need the material in a different ways? For example, Braille. Do you want material in large text? So we can ask them. And if they say yes, then we should know that they have a hearing problem or they have like a visibility problem. In this same way, every university has a record of students where they have to fill in, and I'm sure the Indian universities also have the same category where students join and they tick mark that they are coming under that quota. So we should look out for that. So at least this one we can do, and in the class, if we know how many students of such ability or disability they are, we can look for them. Now, if this kind of prepare, we do all this information, then as a teacher, with or without that information, we should be ready for that. And the one thing we can do very easily is to prepare the material which is needed for everyone. And these days, the technology, which I have also learned very recently, it is easy to do it. For example, if you have your lecture notes, if you have some articles, some cases, something which you want to use it as a main material, you can convert it automatically. You can convert it on the web. You can do it and change it to Braille and keep it. You don't have to really issue it. Keep it, convert it, and keep it. If a student wants, you can print out and give it to them. Another thing you can do is that all these materials with the Apple and Google and the computer system, we have accessibility mode. So we can put that and try and test, and it can convert it into read aloud text. So in that way, the students, even the website can be done in such a way. And there is a code, I think it's called the WP3 code, which they can use and convert the websites for that accessibility issues, and that can be raised. Another thing is that if you are doing recorded lecture and you are doing the live lecture, then you should definitely use your caption mode. And thankfully, now it is becoming very, very useful, like Facebook or YouTube or any other system, like even the Microsoft team has that function where we can have a caption. So what will happen? The caption will be coming automatically with your speech. So at least it will be there. At first, students may not get everything, but something will be there for you. Later on, you can download those texts, correct it, and upload it again. So that material, the recorded material, if you are doing a pre-recorded lecture, that can be easily put into very nice way with the correct captions, and students can hear, see, and read at one time. So it's an easy way to do it, and we can prepare it without any problem in that. When there's a live class, it is possible that we can create a peer group or pair group where a good or helpful students can help those students to take notes if possible. Otherwise, even the institute or university can do something about it, like hiring a professional, which we did it, but that's not a good solution. We have to have the system about it. Another thing which we can do is to contact the library immediately and ask them all the text which you are using in the class, the main text. You can ask the library, particularly the e-version of the books, they can enlarge, they can create a read aloud text and prepare in different ways and even convert into Braille. It is possible, and they can do it. If the library does not have access to certain books, or you do not have those books, I can tell you that all the publishers, all the major publishers, whether it's Oxford, Cambridge, anyone which you have, they have a section where they are having a disability access. You can write to the publisher and you can tell them that Cambridge, Oxford, whatever, they say that this is the book I want to use, this is the chapter I want to use for my such and such, or my these students. They can give you a special code with that, and free. There's no cost in that. They are very kind. They don't do that, charge anything. You can ask for this code, and with this code, of course, they will, you have to protect the copyright, and they are sensitive about it. They will issue a password. So those students with different ability, you can give it to them and you can use that. Publisher can also help to convert into read aloud text, Braille, or enlarged text, or magnifying text. Any way you want, it can be done. So the publishers are very good, which we did not know, and now we know about it. So we can do that very easily, sir. It can be done. If possible, you can have a professional transcript group or the professional to use it. If you are using a lecture which is a repeat lecture, every year you are doing it, then you prepare one time, invest one time, and the institute can do it. You can perfect it. Say, for example, in urgent need, if you need somebody a recorded lecture to be transcribed, they can transcribe and you can upload it, because the AI system is not that very good at this moment. So you can do all these kind of things. Transcript Services. What we did this time, one student, when we had a hearing problem, and I was in the middle of the semester. So what we did, we hired a Transcript Services. They came in the class, or they just listened to my class, and they took a note and prepared a short note for the student. I looked at notes, corrected it, and put it forward, give it back to the students. I used the same transcript to upload it on my video. So in one way, it was a little extra work, but it can be done very nicely, and it will help students. We don't have to think about that, why I should do or why we should do so much for one student or two students. We should think about it. If we do not do it, maybe the one very talented students will be out of the system. In this way, we should do that. Now, we also use sign language, particularly for the moot also. And you may not know, when we look at the sign language, we think that every sign language in every country is the same, but we are wrong. It doesn't happen like that. Every country has a different sign language. It's the same like a language. In India, we have so many languages. The sign language is different. Indian English sign language is different than the Australian, European, or American. So it was a very surprising revelation for me that when we were using the Indian sign language, the other people said that we don't use this one. We have some changes. So it was a revelation for me. Now, it doesn't matter. At least whatever the system we have available, we can use it. Then what we did, we had, now I'm told that sign language can be used by the bot. They can create a robot. It can come in the corner of your screen, and it can be coded. And if it is coded well, then while I'm speaking, the robot on the top of the corner, left, right, wherever, it can provide the sign language like a human. So the job is done. So every country, if you are in different parts of India, different parts of the world, the bot can help us to do that. This system, I think that it is there. I have not used it. I have talked to the web developers and the app developers. They said that it is doable, and we are working on it. It is not yet done. But the sign language interpretation was very good for the hearing ability or disability for those people. Now, when we are doing assessment, we have to think about the different able people. Very normal that we give written assessment. That is easy for others also to do it. But those who have a visibility problem, they might have a issue. Those who have a motor problem, they might have an issue of writing, and they might have an issue of typing. So we should consider including them by giving them option that they can submit their assessment, not only in writing, they can give a recorded statement. The way we are saying it, I can give my answer in recorded form and save it and give it to you. And as a teacher, we can hear and mark. It doesn't have to be in writing alone. So this is possible. Similarly, if students have a hearing problem, a stuttering or anything, we should give them extra time. We should give them extra help and try to accommodate them. That is also very easy. And the students with the vision problem, they need only, and if they have a hearing ability, then it's easy to handle it. The problem might happen later on if we have a student, which is very rare, but it will happen if we have all 3 or 4 disability, then combined, then it will be difficult for us. Another, we should understand that there are many people who have a type 1 diabetes, or they have no control over their bowel movement or anything, or their intestines are small. So, but these people, say for example, if we set a assessment for 3 hours, the person with type 1 diabetic cannot survive without taking any medicine or eating something. They will have a problem. So we need to think about it. If you have an in-class test and those students are there, if we know it, then we have to give them extra time. We have to give them break. We have to give them not 3 hours, but give them 3.5 or 4 hours to complete the exam. What I'm saying is that according to the group, according to the students, you can change your assessment and you can do all those things. And it is available. Now, recently, why ICC set up the task force in this one? Because the chairperson of the ICC gave an example. She was using a witness who was appearing in the arbitration, and that person has type 1 diabetics. Now, the hearing went very long, and the person was sitting on the chair
for examination and cross-examination. In between, he was supposed to take some medicine, eat something, take some insulin to control the diabetic level. But what happened is that if as a witness, he or she will get up from the session and go over there, certainly somebody will say it's a trust issue and the witness will become unreliable. So in the middle of the session, that person ran out of the room, went to the bathroom, take some medicine, and his or her physical condition was very bad, and ambulance had to be called, and the person went over to to hospital. Now think about it. We could have avoided this situation if we tell the tribunal, we tell the other party that this witness or the lawyer or the anyone involved in the arbitration have such kind of a disability. We can say that, but it had nothing to do with the trust issue. And these are the things like we have to be sensitive about it. Same like students can also have the same issues. And if you think about it, in legal education and total education, there are 25 to 30% of the population are not joining the educational services or in education because we are not ready for providing such kind of inclusive teaching. And this is a problematic situation we have over there. Now, at an institutional level, what we can do, and this is very important for universities to think about it, they can set up an unit or a coordinator, which we call it diversity or disability, or basically diversity, which can include disability. So a coordinator for that. Now, this coordinator should have a job to find out all the students, not only in law, but university level, we are talking about other departments also. So they should have this unit. This person should be professional, who knows how to handle the needs and sensitivity of these people with different ability. This position is not a teaching position. It's a very clinical position. It's a psychological position. It's a position where the person knows how to handle. And there was an example, I saw that in Australia, in University of Queensland, Queensland University of Technology, they have this position. And a person who was appointed had an experience, and she handled the students with different ability very well and very sensibly. So we need to appoint that at a short notice, or at the law school level, if we are thinking about it, at least one teacher with such kind of a heart and soul can think about spending extra time to do that. But the only problem is we cannot use that person without any training. We have to train them about the sensitivity issue, how to handle, how to use the word, how to deal with them. And even the people with a neurological disorder or neurological disability or anything. So we have to be very careful about it, including autistics, all those. We have to do that. Now, at university level, we can invest initially and we can provide all necessary support, even if it comes on the cost. For example, the library part, which we talked about it. It will take some time, but now all the books and everything which we have is electronic version. So we can definitely use that, convert into Braille, convert into any kind of a text, read aloud text, we can do that. If you have a Canvas system, team, and other or any other teaching platform, online platform, which we are using it, we can make it more inclusive. We can make it more suitable for students with all kinds. Imagine a teacher is speaking, PowerPoint is coming on one side, robot or bot is like doing the sign language interpretation, and at the bottom we have a captions coming, perfect captions coming. Then you can think about it, we can cover everyone if we want. So this will be very inclusive teaching, which we can do it. It requires little cost, not too much, one-time effort, and it can work for every time. So institutions should think about that. And you need to equip your library, because you need to have a machine to enlarge the text or highlight the text. But thankfully, now the Microsoft Word also has that kind of a view, where the view can enlarge with the using hand lens kind of a thing. So it is possible to do that. Website, teaching material, teaching platform, everything has to be compatible now. Now, I was told that students with the glaring effect and the color blindness cannot pick up all the colors. So if you make your PowerPoint too colorful, it is not useful for them. So think about it. If you're using the Word file, that and with lots of text which is very crowded, they can't read it. So you have to separate it to few like sentences and everything with lots of paragraphs. All those things you need to do it. They say that if you convert this into PDF, then it is much better in that sense, and that can be used as a read aloud text. So your accessibility should be increased in this kind of things. Another thing institutions should do, those who are involved in such kind of a teaching, in general, I suggest that we should get some kind of a training. Over the period, what I have done is that I have contacted those NGOs where they are teaching sign language, or they are sharing their information, how they teach or train students with visibility impairment or hearing impairment. So I was just talking to them that what happens, what to work on that. Even I use the YouTube to see that what is the sign language for common things, so that at least I can on my own can communicate. And I found many people with the ability, full ability, they are learning sign language. And many mothers I have seen, they have learned sign language because their kids have such problem. And that's how they have communicated. It's not that difficult. Yes, we have to have extra time, but it's nice. And we feel very happy that we are doing such kind of a thing. So we need to train our teachers to be sensitive, to be careful or caring. And we have to have that kind of a effect that they want to do such things for students. They want to spend extra time and don't get frustrated with that. In other words, institute itself can be very proud of such inclusivity. They can be very proudly, they can say that we provide inclusive teaching. We provide inclusive training for all. If we are doing it, why we should not come forward? Same like a company, they are very proud of saying that we are doing lots of CSR work, corporate social responsibility. And here as a teacher, we don't have to have a corporate kind of a thing. It is our moral responsibility to do that. And we can do that. Now, if they become mediator later on, and they are doing the mediation, and I come across one mediator who proudly said that he finished a mediation with the sign language help. There's nothing wrong about it. So same, we can do it here at the teaching level. If we do all these kind of things, what will happen? What will the impact? Impact will be that our students will be equipped, confident, and they will have an experience of dealing with able people, compete with the able people. And if they can compete very well in the class, when they become a professional, they will compete. And here is the key point. The ICC wants the people who are in the profession to be inclusive. And we are saying that we will prepare the students who will be inclusive in the system before, at very early stage. And when they will come to the professional stage, they will be right up front for running and working together with the able people. So this will be the impact which we need to create. But I must say that so far, this is my experience of only very, very intensive 1 year of one and a half year of this work. But in the past also, we have been taking care of that, other students. But what I see come across that there are many unfinished work. Now, if you think about it, we have interpretation services in the court system, where in the criminal cases and other where we need this interpretation system, sign language interpretation, all those things we can see at the magistrate court level or the lower court level. We need that. But over there, if you see, majority of the cases over there are the criminal cases. So we have typical court language, typical criminal law related languages, which we have prepared. Sign language training, when it is given, it is not given as subject specific. It is given a general one for the general common day-to-day communication, not a specific one. Now you think about it, if we have in the legal system, in the court system, in the criminal law, in civil law, in arbitration, in mediation, we use many words which are very typical and connected to that subject. But the sign language interpreter, they don't know. So even if they come and assist you and assist us, they will not say anything. So what is lacking here is that we do not have a ADR a specific ADR, a specific dictionary of sign language. So this is very important. They know how to say judge, but it's very difficult for them to interpret an arbitrator, a mediator, a client. So we need a dictionary. Now I searched for that. There was a project in US universities where they were preparing a dictionary for the court, in the court setting. And that was only related to criminal law. And I was looking for the words which we use in arbitration and mediation. Do we have that word? I didn't find it. And even that project has closed now because of the funding. So we have to develop a commonly used words in ADR, and we have to see how it can be interpreted in sign language in a perfect way. And we have to try and test to see whether the meaning is communicated in the same way or not. And as you know, in mediation, it is very important, like paraphrasing, summary, or like changing the form or platform, or the vision and visibility, or the approach. All these words are very important, which we need to use it, and we have to work together with this sign language interpreter to change it. If we develop that kind of a dictionary and the common use word, then another thing what we have to work is to use the technology, the AI technology. If we create a bot, then we can find a right word, then we can find the right word in different languages, and we can code it and prepare it. Now, this using of the multilingual bot, again, it requires a little bit of investment, little bit of work, but it is possible to do it. And there are many people who will do it free of charge, or many people would like to join the project to complete it with the funding. And I tell you from my experience in this WISP-Remote, which we organize, the diversity and disability inclusive WISP-Remote, we got support from everyone. And I was talking to Netflix, because I have one colleague working in Netflix, and I got a contact, and I was checking with them that how Netflix or any movie, for example, Netflix, how they make their movie is still so interesting for the people who cannot see. How they can understand that now this love scene is going on, now the nice fight is going on, the nice song is playing, or nice thing. How they will know? How National Geographic creates a scene, or talks to people, or communicate with these people who cannot see the scene, but they can imagine what is happening. So how they do it? And I come to know very nicely with that. And we wanted to learn from them that how we can make it a still same entertaining, same way other people see that. And we still have to work on that. I can tell you that. The third thing which we are working on, we are planning to work on that, is the touch teaching. Touch teaching is required for the person with the hearing and visibility and a speech problem. I think you remember the movie Blind in India. There were Amitabh Bachchan and Rani Mukherjee. And Amitabh Bachchan and Rani Mukherjee, they were communicating with the touch feeling on the hand. So it is a very one-to-one teaching. I'm not sure how many students will really come forward, but assuming we have such a student with a brilliant mind who is doing it, who wants to do law or teach or join the ADR profession, can we do it? Even we don't know how to teach unless until we learn this one. So we need some help in preparing that. There are many people with this experience. If we have a language, we have a dictionary, we have that kind of a thing, then we can experiment and we can do it. So this is very, you may say it's a crazy idea, but I think that we should work on that. In few years, we should achieve that. It should not be a difficult task. Then what we have created, the Moot website, which we have created this time, it has a resources only for arbitration at this moment, but we will add mediation also. So this Moot website is not just one-off, that we come as a Moot and then go. We have a resources, we have a video, audio, everything. And we want to keep this one as continuous. And in continuous process, we want them to suggest, submit, give any kind of help which they can, so that we can learn from each other. And those students who wants to learn basics of arbitration, basics of mediation, they can just go to the website, open the resources, and they can learn, because over there we have a recorded one with the sign language interpretation. So at least we can cover that. Our materials are converted into Braille, so we can print and give it to them. All the materials are available in large text or read aloud text, everything is possible. And if they need any special thing, they can always contact us and we can provide. So this project is still continuing with that. Moreover, and the most important thing, which I suggest as a teacher, we have to talk to each other and share our experience. If you have a student, you share your experience with us. If I have anything, I will share with you. And together we will learn, because no matter how hard we try, we cannot really step into the shoes of those students who need our help. So unless until we learn from each other, we talk to the students, we find their need, we cannot. So learning is very important. And through my colleagues, I contacted my colleagues in Harvard, Stanford, Yale, and Stockholm and Canada, and I asked them that, how do you do that? I contacted Arbitration and Mediation Institute, that how do you train your students with such kind of a ability or different ability? And we learned from each other. The Netflix experience was very phenomenal, and I would love to talk to other producers that how they do it, and such in that way we can make our teaching a more exciting for those students also, not only for us or only for anybody else. So these are the small things we can do it. And I just wanted to share my experience, and I encourage you to include such kind of a teaching and training approach and attitude. Even if we succeed in training or putting forward one student from every institute or any institute who have this kind of a student into the profession, who with the full confidence, full knowledge is not a problem, but full skills and the confidence and the capacity to compete with the people with full ability, I think as a teacher, we will do our job, and we should be proud of doing our job in that one. So thank you very much for all this. If you have any question, I don't know whether I can answer or not, but I can share you my experience in dealing with that. So thank you very much for your time and attention today.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for providing us and sharing your experience with us. And of course, this was a very fresh perspective that all of us have got through your lecture, that how we can actually bring a very inclusive kind of a teaching methodology in our day-to-day teaching learning process, and how we can also ensure that every student, irrespective of the ability and the disabilities that they possess, they can still be a part of one single institute. But there are a few questions which basically pop up from the discussion or the discourse that we just had. The first question would be that how do we ensure the use of technology in India, especially to impart such kind of trainings to disabled students, where access to technology is not easy for everyone. So if we just look at the pandemic situation that we as a country have been facing, I mean, the pandemic situation has been faced across the world, but in India, we have also faced issues such as, having online classes or conducting online classes, because we couldn't reach in the remote areas for imparting online classes over there. So in those circumstances, how do we ensure that such kind of technology, which is so intrigued in terms of converting the normal text into braille language, as well as where a robot is basically imparting training using a sign language, can be ensured? So that comes up as a question, being a part of the Indian continent.
Thank you. The question is very pertinent, and our lecture or my presentation today is an example of that, where I can't even switch on my camera and the Wi-Fi. Yes, there's a technical problem, but those are very minor things. I don't see that one as a big problem, because if you provide a Wi-Fi, then the only thing we need is a connection, is a Wi-Fi connection. But your question goes to a different level. Is that website, material, and other? If a student does not have a phone and an iPhone or a phone or a computer, then of course we can't do anything about it. But if any student has even a phone, then we can help them. Every phone is, I assume that most of the people are using a smartphone of a different kind or different model or different brand. Every smartphone has an accessibility function, which we didn't know, and I didn't know either. Maybe you know that. If you turn on the accessibility function, It's the same like Siri, it's same like, hey Google, you say it, they type your message and put it. In the same way, if you switch on your accessibility mode, go to there in system, and you will find the accessibility, and they will give you the option for the hearing, for the for visibility and all. And suddenly, once you turn this one on, the things will start popping up and it will start reading for you. Like website, if you open, it will start reading for you. But the website has to be capable of that kind of a system. So it's not that difficult. Now, the idea of bot, yes, it is difficult at this moment, not available, but I'm sure we have this technology and it can be done. For example, few years ago in the customer service, we didn't have the bot coming first and talking to us, but now we have. And we are developing an app where the technical support staff has said that, yes, we can do it. So once it is there, we can do it. Now, this is not related to a student. It's not the student has to do it, it's the institution has to do it. So if your university will do that for your student, and it is related, it is given to all, then why not? Assuming in your university you have 100 students, and if some students have no computer and no iPhone, they can borrow from the university. Like in Hong Kong, when we were teaching, we had the iPad teaching. We gave iPad to all students, but a very little amount as a deposit, or even that one we gave. So if you don't have mobile phone, you don't have computer, or you don't have anything, I give you iPhone, I give you the iPad, or I give you any tablet. So once you have that one, then you can get it. Now, in that tablet and everything, you can download all the materials. You don't have to join online, pre-recorded lecture, pre-material, and all those things can be downloaded and given to you on your computer, on your iPad, and you can go anywhere and you can see. Same like you download your movie from the Netflix, from Amazon, you download and then you watch. You don't need Wi-Fi for that. So little, that's why I said that little bit of training, little bit of encouragement, little bit of direction, you can do that. Even we do know how to use the iPad, connect to the computer, connect to all the students. Even in the class or from outside, you can create a university link, and every iPhone, iPad can be connected to each other's. So we can work together. Same like Google Doc. So if a student does not have this equipment, university can provide. The Wi-Fi, we cannot do it, but even that, I'm sure it is possible. Now there's a dongle is coming. So we have done with the students, like, some lectures, some other things we have given in remote area where it was not, thing was clear, but some telephone company has a dongle, they gave it, and they have a very strong Wi-Fi, they can use it. So we just need a Wi-Fi. And if the university can download the material and give them on the iPad, then its situation will be even easier to handle. So it is possible. We know the differences, we know the deficiency, but it is possible.
Indeed, Dr. Sharma, I completely agree to you. With this, I would want to move on to the next question, which is as to what is your opinion on the fact that to ensure teaching disabled students, the teachers will also require some kind of a special training to be able to effectively implement this kind of a scheme. So when we're talking about the teachers' special training, does that include use of technology, conversion of normal text into some other kind of a language, or what does the institute need to ensure that their teachers are also well equipped in imparting such kind of a trainings, or do we need to really just hire a fresh staff for the purpose of support, for the purpose of supporting this kind of an endeavors that the institute takes? Sir, was I audible to you?
Sharma, please be connectivity.
Yeah, I guess there's some connection issues. I guess we can wait for a minute, and if is he unable to join the meeting back, then we'll end the session here itself. Hello, sir, am I audible to you? Can you connect with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
now
we
can
can.
hear
Oh,
you.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I by mistake I pressed the microphone like to off mode. So you
Yeah.
can hear me now, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Um, the question which they ask is a very normal. Like we realized this problem right up front when we were setting up the websites. So what we did that it was related to mood. So we started with the basics of mood training, and we use it that if somebody has to teach mooting technique and skills, then how they will do it. So we did not go into the content part. Like we didn't give the lecture of introduction to arbitration or introduction to CISD and all those things. We said the introduction to mood related to that. So it was immediate. Now, what we did is that we provided a lecture, and in that one, I also gave 2-3 lectures. Some other students also gave the lectures on different aspects, and you can find it all on the web in the resource section and YouTube and everywhere. Now, we use the sign language interpreter in that one. So we had the PowerPoint, me as a speaker, my PowerPoint with the sign language interpreter, and the captions were coming live at that time. After finishing of the lecture, we looked at all the captions, and then we corrected it and divide the video into a smaller parts. The reason we had to do a smaller parts because it was becoming very heavy and used. So because of the weak Wi-Fi, it may not run. So 1.5 hour lectures were divided into 3 parts, a small pack. And when it was done in a small pack, students can download and hear it. For that, this is the thing, not every institute has to do the same thing to reinvent the wheel. So say, for example, if we have like your this international teaching program, in 1 month, you have experts from everywhere. In the same way, when you are training, you can invite the experts from everywhere, and you can do the same online. We don't have to be there in person. So use sign language interpreter or bot, have PowerPoint properly done, and not in a small, like in a few words. Please write your PowerPoint little bit in details, full sentences, so that people who cannot hear, at least they can read your PowerPoint. And when you are speaking, is keep your caption live, and you go back and correct it in that one. Then you should also fix a system where the caption can be downloaded, so they can do that. For this, you don't need any training. Any teacher can do it. So that part. But if you look at the skills part, like mediation training part, so you have a trainer who will do it. Mooting a skills part, you can do it. In the same website, long time back, we had this project. We even prepared the different segments of the moods with the video, with the text, with everything is there, and you can have a look. So no need to do it everything by yourself. We can coordinate and we can do it together. And this is staff and the teachers from other university from around the world are also very important, and they are also very happy to share these kind of things. Trust me, you just have to reach out to them.
Indeed. Because of the paucity of time, I'll just take up a last question that we have. Then we'll wind up the session. So the last question is that at teaching level, even if as an institute we ensure that training is imparted, but what about the concerns which arise when these students are subjected to the real life practice, such as that they are the arbitrators or they are the judges and are not trained to read Braille or understand such kind of sign languages? So basically, if the arbitrators or the judges are not trained enough to, understand or comprehend them as counsels or clients, in those circumstances, how do we ensure the effective practice of the law of these disabled students?
I can say this one, that ICC task force has been created for that purpose. And this is what we are looking at it, the concerns in the professional life. And the one thing we have come to know, that many people do not know that the person needs a special assistance. For example, Stephen Hawking, if you remember, he had all kinds of disability. His only thing was working was a brain. And you see, solution was found. There was no problem. Many arbitrators who became old, I know one arbitrator who is now on the wheelchair. He has a motorized chair. He's sitting over there. He goes around there, but he works on that. And he did a good arbitration and is still doing good arbitration. There's one arbitrator who has an intestine has to be cut, and he's carrying a bag all the time for his daily needs. And he cannot wear suit, but he's using it. He can do it. Other person who are blind, they are doing it. What is more important? And that's why I say that it should start at the university level, because what we are doing, we are giving a special attention so that we should tell them that we care for you and you are part of the same team, and we are not ignoring you just because of your some kind of a disability. Once they will be in the system in university level, in the exam, in the moot, in the competition, if they will take part. And that's why the moot competition, where they were mooting as a students, and they were competing with good students. And if they did well, that will enhance their confidence. So I think that the whole exercise we need at the teaching and training level is to generate the confidence, instill the confidence and faith and trust in themselves that they can do well. And that's how we can put it there. We had a language disability, or not disability, but differences. But even with the people with a different English accent, they can still understand and communicate. In the same way, we can do it. And think about it. We can organize Para-Olympic, but we can't teach our students who just need a brain. We are not training anybody as a sprinter. But even as that's why I say, even as a Para-Olympic, we can teach them how to play tennis and badminton. And we can't do this. I don't think so. Is the only thing is that we have not paid enough attention to that.
Indeed, Dr. Sharma. So thank you so much for such a thought-provoking and enlightening session. And thank you for sharing your experiences with us. Indeed, as an institute, after hearing you, we would try our best endeavors to, accomplish at least, if not all, at least some of the learnings that we have taken back from your session. So thank you so much for sparing time from your busy schedule for us. And despite the technology, the technical glitch that we had, you still tried your level best to convey your thoughts. So that is also one of the key learnings that we have taken up from today's session. So now I would like to invite our Dean and Director to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us, and we look forward to your visit in Nirma. Actually, we are also conducting a faculty development program at our institute, and we would love you to be there in that program, because there are so many things which the teachers can take from this session. So we look forward for more sessions from you in our actual FDP that we organize every year in the month of July. So if you can come in the July, it will be our privilege. Thank you so much. And thank you once again for accepting our invitation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me and joining your teaching program once again. It's really a pleasure, and I'm sorry about all these technical glitches and other, but still we managed to do that. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.